Mike, it's just such a pleasure to chat with you and meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Talk to me a little bit about the show 60 Days In, and why did you accept the challenge of being on this show?
Yeah, I love that you say a challenge because it really is. We were approached several times over the last few years and asked if we'd be interested in doing this, and declined every time. And it probably goes back to a little bit of the challenge, right? But ultimately, for me, the reason why I finally accepted is, what, as a sheriff, I've been open to audits being performed on our facilities, on our functions. We've had several done. And the reality is, most of them have been pretty high level. Like maybe they go through our budget, they go through our staffing, but nothing really in depth operationally. And as I looked at 60 Days In, that's what they offer. I mean, I looked at it as an audit.
Mm.
Now here's the bad part of the audit. Most audits, the results don't get aired on national TV, right?
Right.
Um, but in the end, this is something that I couldn't afford to do. I didn't have the resource to do this in depth of an audit. It didn't cost the taxpayers one penny to do it. And so I went in with an attitude of, this is going to be an audit, and whatever comes out of it, I'm going to own it. I'm going to fix it, and we're going to be a better facility because of it. And so that's why I did it. I think that if you're not willing to be progressive in your job, whatever it is, maybe it's time to step aside and let someone else do it.
What surprised you most about what they found out?
I truly do believe, and I still believe, that we're one of the best run facilities out there. I really do. We run a good facility here, but with that said, there's always things that can be fixed.
Mhm.
And yeah, there were a few things, and I think you'll probably need to wait and watch the episodes to see. But there are a few things you're going to see aired that I'm not so proud of, but we're going to fix it, and things that I didn't expect to be found. But we're going to fix those things, and that was my promise, and that was why I put the energy into this challenge.
I think it's great that you walked into it that way, because a lot of times there's this kind of ego about running prisons and all of that enters into it. But you're so open. I mean, you've been in this business for a long time. I mean, you started in Pleasant Grove, as an officer, chief of police, and so you've raised
Yeah,
yourself up through the ranks, and really you have an interesting view of how all of this works.
I do. In the end, I I'm you, right? I'm a citizen, and and I work for the citizens, and I want to do the best job that we can. I want to make sure that we're treating our community the way that we should be treating them. And those that spend time in our jail, the inmates in our jail, they've made mistakes, but they are part of our community, and I want to make sure that we're treating them right. And don't get me wrong, jail's a punishment, and it should be a punishment, but they should be treated with dignity while they're in here and have opportunities to change their life. And that's what I want to ensure is happening.
Yeah, I know that you're high on the educational system, and want to reform. And that's kind of scarce these days when prison has become a business.
Yeah, yeah, it is. For me, um, one of the biggest things that we have in our facility is people in here for drug use, right?
Yeah.
So it's important for me that while they're here, I keep them clean, that they have a chance to, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months or whatever it is, they're in our facility, that they're clean and maybe have some clarity of thought and think, you know what, I want more out of my life, and then have a program to help them achieve that. But to do that, I've got to make sure that drugs and contraband aren't making it into this facility. And so that was another big reason for doing 60 Days In, is we put a lot of things in place to stop that, but we know it still finds its way in. And I wanted to find out how and improve on those things.
For audiences that are tuning in to this, the episodes with the Salt Lake County Jail in it, what do you think they're going to take away from watching 60 Days In?
I hope one of the things that they take away when they watch this is they never want to spend time in jail. um, you remember the old Scared Straight program, right?
Oh, sure.
So jail's jail. You know, and we're not the same as other parts of the nation. I admit that. But jail is jail. It's a punishment. It's not fun. It's not something where you want to be. So I hope their biggest takeaway is, you know, whatever it is you're thinking about doing out in your community that may be against the law, well, don't do it. It's not worth it. You do not want to go to jail. Just obey the law, and your life will be much more pleasant than going to jail.
One final question before I go, and thank you so much for your time. You're a busy guy. Do you, when a prisoner comes in, I mean, do they do any kind of psychological evaluation to say, oh, maybe we should put this with this guy or that guy, rather than, you know, just throwing him into the slammer with anybody?
Yeah, there's several processes they go through. They go through a medical evaluation, they go through a mental screening, and they go through what we call a classification process. So we make sure that we are housing people that aren't a threat to each other in the same areas. And then you get those that this can't be housed with anybody, and they go into our maximum security area, and they get housed by themselves, right? Because they've just reached a level where no one's safe around them.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for your time. Maybe we'll grab a cup of coffee someday.
Absolutely, would love to. You
All
take
right, you
care.
take care. Bye-bye.